It is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. This is another playoff edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well, as we're kind of caught in that little rut, which is between Game 7 of the ALCS and Game 1 of the World Series. And we're like, gosh, can we just get to this thing already, right?
I need a breather, Coach. This is we needed that. Yeah.
Huh.
It's like, after a great night in the sack back in the day, people just smoke a cigarette. That's kind of what I needed. Just
hey, now.
Yeah, they're getting a little R-rated, X-rated.
I was going to say.
I needed a break.
Okay.
So I'm happy for this. I want to collect myself. I want to get some sleep because we're going to be working the night shift during the World Series. And hopefully we'll be doing that for like a week straight. So I want to see this thing go 7.
Yeah, I do too. And I know that you guys out in our community have been digging that. We try and get some of these shows out as late as possible. And we appreciate everything you guys have been doing and absorbing the content and commenting and liking and subscribing and all sorts of stuff. So keep doing that. We do have a tip of the cap. The other night before Game 7 of the ALCS, Vladimir Guerrero walks in wearing his Austin Matthews sweater of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, of course, have not won squat since 1967. So a lot of people are like, don't wear that one. As great a player as Austin Matthews is, you can't do that. Well, Vladdy and the Jays end up besting the Mariners, moving on to their first World Series since 93. So what happened? Austin Matthews returned the favor prior to the Maple Leafs 5-2 loss, of course, against the New Jersey Devils. But I always love this. You hear me talk about this several times a year when athletes from either their real hometown or their adoptive city end up, getting on board another sports team in that town. I think it's the coolest stuff ever.
I like it too. Man. Just showing the support. And, during my days, met some Vikings guys, rooted for the Vikings, and just, these guys understand what the other is going through, I think. And then to show the support is cool.
I'm trying to think who was Christian Ponder was a quarterback up there with the Vikings.
Had some lunches and dinners with him.
Okay.
Yeah. My main two guys for the Vikes were Kyle Rudolph and Harrison Smith.
Oh, yeah. Well, isn't it amazing that Harrison Smith is still there? It's incredible.
There. Me and Harrison had some nights out in the town. Let me tell you.
I'm sure. He's had a great, great career. And Kyle Rudolph had a nice run, too.
Yeah, I like Kyle.
All right, so as I mentioned, still a couple of days away from Game 1 of the World Series. Dodgers have set the rotation, at least for the first 2 games. It'll be Snell and Yamamoto, so no shocks there. And, of course, LA star Mookie Betts was asked about, you know what?
I've never really thought about dynasties. I think just because I'm in it, so I know how hard it is. I know, I just don't really think about dynasties. So I don't know really what kind of what it consists of. But I mean, I guess if you're thinking about going into the postseason and obviously having a chance to win World Series year after year, I mean, I guess that would kind of qualify as some type of dynasty. But I don't know what it takes that calls it that. So I'm just going to enjoy being in whatever moment we are now.
All right. Well, Mookie, if you don't know, maybe we do. I asked this question on the show a few weeks ago, but I think that you were off. I think Jolly was in for you. So if they win for the 3rd time in 6 years, does that qualify?
Yes. If they win this World Series, they're like, if they're not already, that's 1,000% a dynasty, because not only have they won 3 in 6 years, but 12 of the last 13 NL West titles contributes to that. I mean, they're just a dynastic organization right now, and there's no other way around it. And I don't think this is like peak of the dynasty or end of the dynasty. I truly believe like this is the beginning of a pretty historic run, I guess continuance of a pretty historic run that we'll see. They're right in the thick of this thing. So yeah, especially if they win, I don't know how you could dispute that. Like, who's saying if they won 3 and 6 and they've dominated their division the way they have, that it isn't a dynasty?
Well, I think there are some people who, what is the cutoff? Obviously, the Yankees 3 and 4 years from 96 through 2000. The Giants 3 and 5 years, and that one it is a dynasty to me, but it's a weird one because in the 2 years they did not win the World Series, they didn't even make the playoffs during that span. But you know what? I was chatting with our one of a kind producer Dan Rourke, who usually is so heavily slanted toward Yankees and anything nobody else can come at. He actually made a very valid point in this discussion. I'm going to bring up the 2020 World Series roster for you from the Dodgers.
Okay.
The only guys that are still around, I mean, Gonsolin didn't even really pitch this year. Kershaw, Trinan, Mookie, Kike, Muncy, and Will Smith. That's
pretty
much
good. That's
it.
still like pretty much their core.
It's not. There's no Freddie. There's no Ohtani. There's no pitching staff, if you will. Like what did I mention? 5 or 6 guys?
All those guys are still contributing, very much so. So you're saying to be a dynasty, you have to have the same roster throughout it? That's what we're talking about? I don't believe in that.
I'm kicking it around. I think it is something to consider.
Okay, you can consider it, but that to me, no. Because a dynasty is about the organization, not the roster.
Okay. It's a good question. I want to hear from people on this because there is not, I mean, it's so subjective in how you see things, right? The Patriots it felt like 2 dynasties in this century. And obviously the common thread throughout it was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but there were a ton of other changing parts. Now, for the first part of their dynasty, they did have a lot of that core together on both offense and defense. And later on in that kind of dynasty-ish era, they had a very similar core. It wasn't exact, but I don't know, man. 1/5 of your roster is the same. Is that good enough?
Well, I could say a few things about that. I mean, the roster turnover in Major League Baseball has never been more so than it is today.
Okay.
But I mean, look, valid point. I think arguing what is and what isn't a dynasty is just so subjective to people. Like
isn't that the fun part? That's the fun part of arguments.
I know there's no okay, what's a dynasty to you? Like everyone has a different definition of it, so we're never going to agree on it. I think without a doubt, this is a dynasty already, I think. Yeah. If they put this next feather in their cap, it's undisputed to me.
So they don't even have to win for you to be considering it a dynasty.
Yes. I think we're going to look back at this Dodgers era of baseball and be like, this is probably their best era of baseball they've ever played. And this is the Dodgers organization we're talking about.
Well, that is true because let's say they do win. It'll be the first time that they will ever have gone back-to-back. We know that it'll be the first time in baseball that a team's going back-to-back since the 99-2000 Yankees. But how about this? The last time the defending World Series champion even made the World Series was 16 years ago when the Phillies did it. They won in 2008 over Tampa. Yeah. They lost in 2009 to New York. So it just goes to show you, even just to make the World Series.
Did the Rangers go back-to-back World Series and lost them both?
Who? I'm sorry?
The Texas Rangers?
Yes, they lost in 2010 and 2011.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. Right? 2010, 2011.
I knew you would know that.
Well, I was there covering them. Yeah. That was a tough go for him. I told you the whole story in 2011 when I'm peeking through the wall in Busch Stadium, watching David Freese hit the triple right over Nelson Cruz's head.
He had one of the all-time great walk-off homer. Like, you don't know what you're going to do when you hit a walk-off homer when you're rounding third base. Like, at least, in my experience, it just kind of happens randomly. Like, the helmet between the legs, like kind of like almost like Happy Gilmore status, was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, so a lot to get to there with the Dodgers and dynasty talk. What do we got?
I'm getting blown up by the sun. This is it's like a Death Star beam on me right now.
Or worse, I thought maybe they were coming for you.
Let me see if I can change something right here. Oh my gosh!
What happens? Do we not?
Oh, that was great.
Oh, that was really good. Look at you. You're so handy around the house.
Look at me.
All right, in the meantime, let's talk about the Dodgers' opponent, if you don't mind. The Toronto Blue Jays. They are World Series bound for the first time in 32 years. All that's standing in the way, the champs. Here's Toronto skipper.
I think to get to where you want to go, you got to beat the best, right? Whether it's talent, payroll, whatever you want to call it, man, they're a damn good team. We saw them 3 games, and that's it this year. But they got Hall of Famers up and down, top of their lineup, you know what I mean? And they got really, really good starting pitching and really good relievers. So,
all right, but let's focus on the starting pitching, which has been the star of the entire tournament, if you will. Starters ERA under 1.5 for the Dodgers. Cincinnati couldn't solve them. Philly couldn't solve them. Milwaukee, forget about solving them. I don't even know what words we use to describe what happened to the Brewers. What gives you confidence that Toronto can do something different?
Well, I think they have a mixture of a bunch of different good offensive attributes. So I think you can look there first. They have guys that are going to put the ball in play. We've known that all season long. That's kind of been their MO. I think that is important. They also have a long lineup where you can say up and down, these guys have been putting together really, really good at bats. Bottom of the lineup included, did a really good job in the ALCS. So I think that when you're a starting pitcher and you don't see a free 3 outs somewhere, that starts to creep into your mind. More stressful pitches can lead to mistakes. And then also, these guys are coming in absolutely blazing hot, too. George Springer in the postseason, 929 OPS. Vladdy, 1.4. Dalton Varsho, 800. Ernie Clement, 1 dotting it. Addison Barger, 889. Nathan Lucas, 7. They are coming in hot. So I think that matters. Now, do I think they're going to just take this starting pitching and do what they want with it? No, I don't. But I do think they have a better shot than those other teams because of that. Mostly because they're coming in hot. But also, I just think that they have, like I said, different attributes offensively that they can apply here and just try to work these guys a little bit more. I think there is a shot. I know we're talking about starting pitching. I still think the Dodgers bullpen, they haven't been exposed because of how good the starting pitching has been. If they can somehow work enough to get the pitch counts up or get enough traffic on the bases, I think we said that about Milwaukee, didn't happen. That's still the game plan here for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest key is that even if you don't knock the ball all the way around the yard, you've got to have 9-10 pitch at bats, which we saw Toronto do several times throughout this playoffs. I mean, they really made pitchers work. And why is that important? Well, particularly against the Dodgers, whose starters have thrown 62% of their playoff innings. Last year was low 40s. I mean, that is a significant, significant jump. So if you're able to work the pitch count and make Dave Roberts have to really manage his bullpen, which is something that he hasn't had to do a lot so far in their run to the World Series, that's going to be critical. It just is because, yeah, the Dodgers might feel good about Sasaki. Alex Vesia has pitched extremely well. Maybe it feels like Blake Trinan has turned the corner. But if they're going to have to rely on some other guys outside of that area, make Dave Roberts work and think.
We keep saying that, and it just
right. It doesn't happen when you're going to throw.
Well, Roki got taken out of the game in Milwaukee, so he was he got put in a situation, didn't fare well there. I still think that is a key for the Blue Jays in this series. If they want to win, they're going to have to do that. I wanted to point one more thing out about their offense, and I read off a bunch of their OPSs there. Top 8 guys in their lineup. So let's just leave IKF out of this at the bottom. Lowest OPS this postseason so far is 752, and that's by Alejandro Kirk. Now you're going to be adding Bo Bichette most likely to that lineup. So we're talking about a team that's been mashing the ball.
That's astounding that the lowest is Alejandro Kirk out of their regulars. At 752.
Yeah, 764 for Andres Jimenez, and then it is 791 for Lucas. Everybody else over 800.
That's remarkable. Well, I mean, you talked about the Blue Jays being the best in baseball in terms of putting the ball in play. The Dodgers led the National League in terms of strikeout rate. It's all coming together, man. It is all coming together. So
Yeah, they swing a lot. If they can avoid Chase, they have to avoid Chase. That's what they have to do.
I know, but we talked about that, and we'll get into this later in the week when we really preview the games. But Blake Snell hit that Tarek Skubal stage where he was throwing strikes, and it didn't matter. They were unhittable. The best you could do was foul them off, and that's the thing, is that you can't against a guy that is running that hot.
It's gonna be interesting to watch.
I can't wait. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Now I'm looking for my ad. Oh, there it is. Nothing better than ripping packs during October baseball. Arena Club. New way to grade, collect, invest, sell, and trade cards. It's all online. Here's how it works. Rip an Arena Club slab pack where you're guaranteed to get one real graded card instantly revealed. Once you have your card, instead of hiding it in the old shoebox in your closet, you can actually share and display it in your personal online showroom. Or use Arena Club's online marketplace to get instant offers based on market value. There's no guessing. There's no waiting. And with 3 specialty drops each week, you could rip anything from rookies to superstars like Judge or Ohtani or even Vlad. Arena Club is the place to start your collection or level it up with transparency, safety, and grails you're not going to find anywhere else. So chase your own grails at arenaclub.com/baseball today. You're going to get 20% off your first pack with the code baseball today. All right. Each team, we know they've got a mega, like international superstar. And boy, they showed it off in their respective LCSs.
Ohtani, did he? Ohtani! Ohtani has done it again! His 3rd home run! Deep left field! It is a grand slam!
All right, so Vladdy, ALCS MVP, Shohei, the NLCS award winner. Which of those two can elevate their legacy more with a big-time winning performance in the World Series? Is it Ohtani or Vlad?
I don't think Ohtani can elevate his legacy anymore, Chris. I truly don't. We're already calling the guy the best to ever play the game. So his legacy's pretty much set. He's got the ring. I know he can add to it. I understand that. But this one, to me, is clearly Vladimir Guerrero Jr. If you become the Dragon Slayer, I mean, people write songs and stories about the Dragon Slayer, not so much about the Dragon, to be honest with you, right? So I think this one in particular means a lot for Vladdy to do it after signing a long-term deal, basically cementing his legacy as Blue Jays royalty. If he already hasn't done that enough, this will be, put it this way. If he goes and they win this World Series, whatever special moment Vlad has in this series will be what they use for the statue outside of whatever stadium they're playing at when he has his statue put out there. So this one to me was 100% Vlad. If he goes and does this, his legacy goes through the roof.
So while I agree with you, I don't think it's as simple as, well, can Shohei go any higher? We didn't think that, but then last Friday happened. And when last Friday happened, in which he hit 3 homers and pitched 6 shutout innings in the clinching game of the NLCS, you know what happened? The baseball world didn't react. The world reacted. They were talking about it Saturday morning on College Game Day. They're in the middle of a university, and they're talking about what Shohei did the night before. I go into NFL Network on Sunday, where they never talk about baseball. And I had NFL players talking to me about him, because all of a sudden you now get into the larger discussion of, is he the greatest team sport player ever? Forget about baseball and what do you mean? I mean, this is what we do, and these are the discussions we love to have. Is he the most talented baseball player, or is he the greatest baseball player ever? That's the one that we wrestle with.
Both.
Both is a certifiable answer. But when you're now crossing lines into other sports. And you don't think that discussion will continue on if he does something similar in the World Series?
That's the craziest question that you could ask. That is the question with zero answer, and that you'll just be arguing and arguing and arguing forever. Who's the greatest team sport player? And you got to talk about, and you could just say like sport dominator in general and throw, Tiger Woods in there, Michael Jordan. Who's the best hockey player of all time? Is it Wayne Gretzky? I don't even know. I'm sure it is. People have those arguments.
I think they will.
Oh,
There's a question about it.
That gives me like, I feel stressed already thinking that you're going to ask me that question after the World Series.
Because I can't stand the whole Jordan versus LeBron stuff. But now
this is that on steroids, dude.
That's exactly what it's going to be. But people are going to have it. Think about it. Just set your disgust aside for just a moment and humor me.
Okay.
If he does win a second and does something, because last year in the World Series, he was not good. We know he had the shoulder issue after the slide. 2 for 19 and 1 extra base hit, a double in the World Series. So he was there. He did something, but it wasn't Shohei-like. If he does set the world on fire, even if it's just for one game, and now after he joins baseball's marquee franchise, he goes 2 for 2 in terms of winning it all and MVPs and wowing the world, it's going to be a discussion.
But Tom Brady's got 7 rings and Michael Jordan's got 6.
I know. And guess what? Not once did Tom Brady register a sack.
No, he did not.
Now, Michael Jordan?
Defense?
Different thing. That guy could play defense. He could play defense. You can go ask Karl Malone on the Strip.
Golly, let's just, okay.
What, you don't like the question?
No. Your original question, yes. Who's the greatest team sport player?
All I'm saying is that it can morph into that. You don't think don't you think we'll be asking it?
I don't even know how to start researching that question.
It's all what's in your heart and
it's in your heart, baby,
and you value as a sports fan. But I do want to get back to Vlad. I think, and I'm old enough to have seen virtually every great ball player in a Toronto uniform. So the likes of, and however you want to order them is fine. Dave Stieb, Doc Holliday, George Bell was a great, great player. I have Robbie Alomar ranked higher than some people do because I just thought he was a fan. There wasn't one thing that Robbie Alomar couldn't do well on the baseball diamond. Joey Bats. Where did Vlad enter?
You can say Josh Donaldson.
Josh Donaldson? Definitely. I mean, he was an MVP up there. There's no question. He's up there. I would put him kind of in the George Bell area as a league MVP that did a ton of damage while there, but just couldn't get him to, whatever level they wanted to. Joe Carter, obviously. I'd love to hear from our Blue Jay fans where Vlad sat in the Blue Jay pecking order going into this playoffs and where he is now, because I think that he has made a huge, huge leap, even if they don't win.
I love my take right there. I just came up with that on the fly about whatever big moment he has in the World Series is going to be his statue. So let's clip that and save it if they win the World Series, and then we'll have to save it for like another 15 years.
And you get to pick the pose.
I do?
Yeah, you should get to, if Vlad wins and is the MVP of the World Series, there is going to be some moment, and I'm going to want you to pick the pose, the still frame.
Hell yeah.
And we could have that commissioned. Would you like to have a statue? What would be the pose of you? Would it be something from Crespi High? Would it be like half hitter, half pitcher? What would it be?
I mean, that'd be pretty sad if my statue was my high school. I don't really have many great moments, man. So I don't have a statue.
Yes, there is. It's you and Kike. Kike with his back looking to right center.
It would have to be a homer. It's like really the only thing that I did well.
Take one off a Klubot.
3 off a Klubot.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It might be this, me in front of a microphone.
No, not
When
yet.
it's all said and done, Chris, people will remember me from this way longer.
I like that. Okay. Hey, based on hundreds of millions of real-world tests, the experts at Ookla Speed Test, they have spoken. T-Mobile, now the best mobile network in all of America. So you can keep up with all of the World Series action from the ballpark to the backcountry. Why? Because T-Mobile's got the most advanced 5G, the most towers, and a signal that goes farther than ever. So whether you're streaming the game out and about or checking stats on the road or experiencing ballpark perks with Magenta status, you are ready to stay connected wherever your fandom takes you. All you have to do, head on over to T-Mobile.com/network to switch to the very best network around. Go do that today. All right, reason I'm donning an Angels cap, they got a new skipper. Congratulations to former Major League catcher Kurt Suzuki. That's kind of cool. 16 years as a big league backstop. Last couple out there in Anaheim. His last game came like one day before or one day after Stephen Vogt. So for those people that are like, well, it's too early for him to get onto the field. Voter's about to win his second straight AL Manager of the Year award, and he had one season of coaching experience, and here he goes. Suzuki, for the record, has been in the Angels front office area, working as kind of a special advisor, if you will. So he hasn't been down on the field doing the day-to-day stuff in the dugout and getting down and dirty. What do you think?
I like it for them. You know, it was interesting to me that because we heard Pujols, Torrey Hunter, those were like the names that we heard. And then it turns out they, considered, but went a different route. And I think Suzuki is very much a viable option. I think he checks a lot of boxes. Known very well, was a teammate of mine in Minnesota. So I feel like I have some insight into why he'd be a good manager. I'm a vibe guy for managers. Like that's kind of like number one. You have to set the tone. I say that all the time. I think he's got a couple things that are really cool. He's Hawaiian. So like shout out freaking Maui Kirk. So he's got that chill vibe there. But also went to Cal State Fullerton, which is like Bulldog University. So I think he's got a nice mixture of like his temperament. Like he's going to hold people accountable. He was one of these guys, man. He had this workout. He'd be like on the Swiss ball with a kettlebell, and it was completely different than anything anybody else was doing. But it was his workout that he did to make him feel good, and he did it religiously. So like attention to detail and routine-oriented philosophies is what he's going to bring to the table, which I think is really good to have a manager that is like that. So they're going to set the tone that way as well. Former catcher, he's won a World Series. Was an all-star. He had one of the all-time cool all-star moments. Him and Glenn Perkins closing it out in front of the home crowd 2014 was awesome. So he's done a lot of really good things in the game. He has the experience as a catcher. I like the vibe that he brings, and he's young. He checks a lot of boxes, dude. So I'm in on this one, and I can't wait to see him, and I can't wait to talk some ball with him. Very smart, very detail-oriented, and again, just I think that's what the Angels see in him is he checks a lot of boxes. Like he's not going to blow it as a manager. I very much feel like he's going to be a manager for a long time.
All right. Well, I blew right past his soundbite. So here he is. I think he's talking to the Angels flagship station, if I'm not mistaken.
Goal is to win the last game of the season. I've been on a team that has won the last game of the season. I've been on 100-loss teams. I've been on teams that have high expectations and don't win, and high expectations that do win. So I feel like I'm well prepared to go through each scenario that gets thrown at me.
So for those of you that are podcast only, we showed video of him catching first pitches from his family. It looked like at the very end of his career. And some would joke, well, those kids have better arms than the ones he's going to be dealing with in spring training. I would never say that. Some people might, but I certainly wouldn't. So that's the biggest thing is that we can say what we want about a manager. If you don't have the dogs, it's going to be rough. Now,
Sure.
I think that their offense is fun. I think their offenses can be really fun, right? You've got the two outfielders in Adele and Ward that combine for almost 75 homers, assuming they're going to hang on to Ward heading into his walk year. Zach Neto, we talk about, one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. Nolan Schanuel, off to a nice start in his career at first base. Maybe he can help out Ohapi become a more consistent performer behind the plate. He's shown glimpses of being a guy that you can really rely on and put up good numbers there, but defensively he's got to improve. And Mike Trout is still a part of the equation there. The problem is obviously the pitching, right? It was Kikuchi and Soriano and kind of what's next. So that sort of stuff needs to be answered, but that's not his fault. He'll deal with the best way possible. The thing I love, and the comparisons to Stephen Vogt, it's not just the catcher. That's too easy. What I would say is the thing about Vogt is that he felt like he could identify with all 26 people on the roster. He was an all-star. He was also the last dude on board. He was a guy who in his mid-20s tried to make it and struggled. And he was the veteran at the end who was there to just provide leadership. I mean, you can check every box right there with Kurt Suzuki. I felt like you could be describing him as much as Stephen Vogt.
No, agreed. Again, he mentioned it himself. Like, he's been through a lot of scenarios, played on a lot of different types of teams and rosters that will set him up for success. Like, nothing's going to surprise Kurt Suzuki. That's kind of was my point. Like, he's going to be prepared. And I see this as the beginning of a very long managerial career, as long as he wants to do that.
Right. Yeah. Wish him well. I've always enjoyed my discussions with Kurt. Good dude.
God, he would call me out for shit all the time. He loved to rag me. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Love to rag on me.
Oh, so he was was he a hard ass veteran?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But again, he had the Maui cool when he needed to, but he was more hard than not hard.
But he's not that. I think he's 42, so he's got 3 years on you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were both veterans at the time, but yeah, he would
rip on you even
all
when
the
you were
time.
a veteran?
Oh yeah, but just fun. Like, he wasn't,
Okay. I like that. I dig it. I like him even more now. Playoff season. We know we're getting to the last series, so whether you're at a watch party or a tailgate or hanging with friends after the game, nothing levels up moments like the refreshing tropical lime kick of Mountain Dew Baja Blast. It is absolutely legendary. You can grab it in a can or a bottle and bring that tropical flavor wherever you go. So this postseason, when you're hanging with friends or rooting for your favorite team or grabbing food late night or at a fall tailgate, right? College football, NFL, grab something that'll really help tie it all together. And that is Baja Blast. Do not wait. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast today. Taste the tropical refresh that takes every occasion to the next level. Find it now. MountainDew.com/finddew. All right. World Series, very interesting. We've talked about, obviously, America, Canada, Roki and Shohei being wooed by Toronto only to turn them down and head to LA and all that sort of stuff. But then you also have the interesting aspect whenever a Los Angeles team is in a championship series of which celebrities show up and are rooting for the other team. Well, in this case, you've got a lot of Canadian superstars outside of the sports world that are going to be paying attention to this because it hasn't happened for them in 32 years. You can count Michael Buble, who was a guest on Stephen A. Smith's radio show, as one of those.
The fact that the greatest ball player, maybe, arguably, ever in the history of the game, every single time he walks up the bat, Ohtani uses my song, "Feeling Good."
That's right. I was going there.
That's
I was
something.
going there.
Then I gotta somehow fight that as a Canadian, my beloved Blue Jays are going to go up against now my hero. I'm conflicted. You know what it feels like, dude? Watching him go up and hearing myself and then watching him do what he does is like, I can't believe that I am a small part of history. I don't think it's going to be as easy as everybody thinks it's going to be. I think it's going to be way closer. I really do. I think it'll be a battle.
I love that because he sounded like a little kid when he was talking about, I can't believe Shohei uses my song.
That's really cool. And it does fit. It's such a unique walk-up song. Usually guys are trying to be like super cool with it. And I don't know how Shohei, chose it. I don't know if that's out on the internet. I haven't researched that, but it's unique and it fits him for some reason.
So how would you, on one hand, the biggest superstar in the sport uses your song, but your country's team is going against it. Is there even
you root for the Blue Jays?
Got it.
Because, this is a very much probably going to be a one-off situation. I mean, maybe it won't be. Maybe we'll see these teams match up again and again and again. The rest of the time, if the Blue Jays aren't playing the Dodgers, you root for Shohei and his success.
Have you ever seen the social media clip of the people that are at the concert and a mom stopped Bublé's concert and said, my 15-year-old son can totally sing? And he starts having a conversation with her. He's like, well, we're here now. Let's talk about it. And he brought him up on stage, and it was that song, and the kid killed it.
Wow.
Killed it. Like, what an amazing moment. It flipped Bublé's brain. I got to find it for you and send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah, it's a wonderful clip. It's really, really good. It's one of the parts of social media that makes me feel good when I'm just sitting there scrolling. I'm like, oh, I've seen this a million times. I'm going to watch it again. So, birds flying high, you know how I feel.
That's pretty good.
That's all right. It's okay.
Hell yeah.
All right, we got our preview show coming up soon. I cannot wait for that. We're going to move one day closer to actually having teams play meaningful baseball. It's coming your way Friday night on your local Fox affiliate, and we cannot wait because we're going to have post-game shows out right afterwards. So make sure you tune in to this show and to Talking Baseball as well. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you again on Thursday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.